Alright, hello everyone, it's silverkyle, and today we are going to be going over my pickups for August 2020. I have quite a bit here. The majority of it was from that buy two, get one free sale that they had at Indigo regarding Omnibus and like graphic novels, that kind of thing, manga. So if you've seen that video, I did get 2 additional packages since then. I also have a TV show to talk about, video games, some movies, and 3 novels as well, like regular books. And it's funny because in that video, somebody had commented, because every pickup that I had from the buy two get one free sale was DC. So they had actually said, so I see you're not a big Marvel guy, and that's actually not true at all. I'm actually probably a bigger Marvel guy than I am a DC fan, because the majority of my omnibus are all Marvel. I only have some Batmans, 1 Aquaman, and 1 Green Lantern. So I really didn't have a lot of DC, and this was me kind of trying to do a catch-up to an extent. And also because I was reading Green Lantern by Jeff Johns, and I found that absolutely amazing that I needed to continue that series. Somebody had mentioned that when I'd done, I think, the pickup last month of the volume 1 of Green Lantern, and they said, you better make sure that you have the volume 2 and 3 like ready to pick up and read, because you're going to want to. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm sure it's pretty good, but yeah, no, that comment was spot on. All right, so let's look at some things here that I got. This first one, and I'll probably do like an overview of a few of these too when I get the chance to kind of go look at them. It's been a busy month. It's been a busy summer, but August was actually quite busy, and I had a week off. But anyway, so we've got Columbo, the entire series, seasons 1 to 7, and it includes the 24 movies that they had. So I think that they had like a few regular seasons that they did in the 70s, and then I think they came back in 89, and then after that I think and had a regular season at that point, and then they had a bunch of like TV movie specials, which were essentially just the same episodes that we were getting, but instead of having them all in one year, they kind of had them sporadically throughout the 90s, and I think up until 2003 or something like that. I've watched the entirety of season 1. I had like just the single slip, but it was so expensive to get it that way. This was only $50 on Amazon, brand new. So I decided to get the full season, 7 seasons. It is on DVD. So I do like the packaging. I love the look of this. Is that palm trees? It looks like it. I have no idea where Columbo's supposed to be based out of. But anyway, the blue trees looks so nice. Like, that has to be palm trees. Like, that has to be palm trees. But yeah, I love Columbo. I grew up watching him. Really looking forward to this, but I would love to have a Blu-ray of this. They do have it in, like, I think Japan or China has a version of it, and I think that Europe might have that too. They also have a Magnum PI. I don't remember which country has Magnum PI, but man, they get all these nice Blu-ray sets, and then just if you've already done the transfers, just bring them over. They're already in English. These came from the States. Released it in North America. I don't understand that. But anyway, next up is a gift that I got from my brother that came in a little bit late for my birthday, and that happened in July. But this is Harvest Moon Back to Nature on PlayStation 1. I am so happy to finally have this back in my collection. This was one of my original games that I had on PlayStation 1. Well, it's not the exact one that I had. I honestly have no idea what happened to my copy of Back to Nature. What I ended up doing back when I was younger is I would sell everything that, whatever system I was buying, I would look at the previous system and sell all those games. It was horrible. I would never do that today. But the only game that I kept from my PlayStation 1 era games was Back to Nature, and then I lost it about maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And it was just devastating that the only game that I kept from the PlayStation 1 era, the manual was so beat up because I would use it and look at it every time that I would play the game. So happy to have this back in my collection. It is sealed. You can see the little stripe there. So we're going to do an unboxing of this, an old school PlayStation 1 unboxing that I cannot wait for. So that's coming up. Now, last month I had talked about a movie called Murder in a Small Town with Gene Wilder, and it was in this kind of, it looked very similar to this, and I was like, I need to have something a little more than that, so I ended up getting a Polish version of the movie. The transfer is still the exact same transfer. I would actually argue that the transfer that I have, where it comes in something like this, is actually a little bit better. This one does have the subtitles that are in Polish, but you can turn them off. So it's And the backing of this just makes it look so much more dramatic than it actually is. Like so much more a thriller, and it's not really. It's much more relaxed and kind of like Columbo, where it's just you're solving a murder and you have Gene Wilder kind of helping along with the case, and he adds his humor to it, and it's very just a very relaxing kind of movie. But I just wanted to have a nice cover for it, so I ended up getting that. That's another one that I would love. Honestly, I don't even need a Blu-ray version of this. What I would just want is a cleaned up DVD version, because the ones that we have are not the greatest quality. Like, I know that DVD can be a lot clearer than what we have right now. But if they wanted to go the full route and do a full Blu-ray restoration, I wouldn't argue with that at all. Speaking of this, so it was Murder in a Small Town, and then they did the Lady in Question, which was the only sequel that we got, and so I ended up getting this as well. Now I have both of them. Very happy to have these both. Now I have the full set, because they only made 2 of those. I would have loved if they would have continued on and made a lot more of those. All right, let's go into the books that I have here. So I ended up getting 3 books. We've got Elevator Pitch, which is a story about a serial killer, a potential serial killer going around in different places where there's elevators and making sure that they kind of are loosened so that people will drop and die. And then it kind of happens in the span of a few months or something like that, and so people that like work in these high-rise buildings are getting really creeped out and freaked out and not wanting to go back to work because that they could potentially die because of the serial killer. Sounds really interesting. So I ended up getting that. I think I had like a $40 gift card, and these were kind of on sale. And then so I ended up paying like $8 for the 3 books here. And what I like about them is that they are oversized to a degree for a novel. I don't know what you would call this. They're still technically, they're not hardcovers or anything like that, but they are much bigger, as you can see here. So, this is called The Tenant. I don't remember what this one's about. Obviously a tenant, but I don't know much more about that. It's basically thrillers that I ended up getting. And then the one that I'm actually reading right now, you can see that I'm getting close to... I probably will finish this in the next few days. I started reading it not too long ago. Really enjoying this. This is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. And at the beginning, the first few chapters, I was kind of like, I'm not really feeling this. I'm going to continue on. But I was like, I'm never going to get another book by Lucy Foley. Now, more than halfway through, I am absolutely loving this. This is it's a destination wedding on an island in Ireland, and there's a lot of background between a lot of the characters on the bride side and the groom side, and it's incredibly interesting. And then there's something that happens on the actual wedding night, and they keep going back and forth between those, and I'm so hooked. I want to know so much more about what happened with some of these characters. I want to see what's actually happening on the wedding night. I just want everything to unravel. I'm hooked to this, and now I want to get basically every Lucy Foley book because I love this. This is excellent in terms of characters, top notch, and in keeping you gripped. Like, she does a phenomenal job. She might, like, I don't know what the other books that she wrote are like, but give it a few chapters, and you might get into it. Okay. So now let's go over something that is a little bit, because a lot of these things I've already kind of shown you if you've seen the buy two get one off, but I ended up getting the oversized hardcover of Crisis on Infinite Earths, which kind of reboots DC for the first time back in the 80s, I think 85 or something like that, around that time, with George Perez, and I cannot wait to dive into this. I've heard obviously numerous things about this, really want to get into it, and then kind of start my reading DC afterwards after this, because I don't think I'm going to want to go back into the Golden Age, definitely, and not even the Silver Age. There's nothing really that appealing to me, other than I might read some Batman, potentially, because I do have the Golden Age Volume 1 of that, and I could see myself maybe reading even Green Lantern from the Silver Age. I'm running out of room. Why am I doing this? I'm just adding them to my chair. So this I've shown before, but this is Batman by Grant Morrison, Volume 3. I will be doing an overview of this very soon. I probably won't be reading it for a while because I want to kind of, this is late 2000s, I think, especially Volume 3. It's probably 2010-ish, in the 2010s for that. Next up is Batman Nightfall, Volume 1. I do want to be starting this soon. I think there's a few things that I want to read. One of them that I want to read before I dive into that one is Batman Year One. So I would like to read Crisis on Infinite Earths, Batman Year One, and then this Batman by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale omnibus, which has three really big stories that kind of, I guess, took over for Year Two or something like that. So I would like to read those, and then I'll get into Nightfall. And kind of so I will be skipping quite a bit of Batman for the most part, because there really isn't a lot of oversized hardcover covering Batman in After Crisis on Infinite Earths. Although once you get to the New 52 era, I have quite a bit for that. So I have all the Grant Morrison stuff, which would be before and then during New 52. Then I have the Snyder and Capullo omnibus for Batman. I have the Batman and Robin, a New 52 entire thing, Batman Eternal. And then I think the Detective Comics that's coming out later this year covers the current run on Detective Comics from Reborn. So many eras, but I actually understand it all now, so I'm very happy about that. Next up, we have, what's it called? Attack on Titan Colossal Edition Volume 4. Very much looking forward to that. Jeff Johns Volume 2. I'm going to be cracking this open because I have finished the first volume. Absolutely loved it. Cannot wait to dive into this. As well as Volume 3. And then, what I'm going to do, because it's probably too heavy, move that over, is this massive omnibus, which I think is my biggest omnibus, which is Blackest Night. This thing is absolutely massive. It's insane. I would say that probably the Jeff Johns stuff is about 1,100 pages. And I think that this is like 1,500 or maybe even 1,600. I can't exactly remember the page count offhand here, but look, it's massive, and I cannot wait to dive into all of this. I'm so excited to get into all of this. If you're kind of wanting to get into some kind of omnibus on the DC side of things, and you kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy and that kind of thing in terms of being in space and having adventures in space, Green Lantern by Jeff Johns is absolutely phenomenal, and we have three volumes of it. We also have Blackest Night. There is Brightest Day. There is an omnibus for Brightest Day, but it's out of print at the moment. But right now, at least you could read 3 volumes and Blackest Night in its entirety, and I mean this will keep you kind of busy for a while. So that's pretty much it for my pickups in August. Let me know in the comments below what you ended up picking up in August. What's your favorite pickup that I ended up getting? And we'll talk to you all next time with a lot more overviews of some of the stuff that I picked up. So I won't be able to actually do a proper beardage. Sorry about that, but you have been bearded in. I won't be able to because I can't. Oh, I can. Maybe I can. All right. Yeah, I could do this. Beardage.